Hi, my name is Nani, Noam Vazana. I'm a singer-songwriter, and I'm doing a crossover between Ladino music, Sephardic Jewish music, and jazz. All my life I was busy with writing songs. My passion is to write songs. Well, of course, perform them as well, but then the composition for me is very important. My grandmother spoke Ladino, so it was a little bit of a distant, mysterious language that I heard at home when the grown-ups didn't want me to understand what they were saying. And I was kind of disconnected with this whole scope of culture for about 20 years. I was invited to play Morocco about 5 years ago with my own songs, and I thought well, this is an interesting opportunity to go and visit my grandmother's city. So I went to Fez, and while I was walking down the street, I heard some people saying a melody that was familiar to me because my grandmother sang it to me when I was a child. It was a little bit of a flashback moment, and I decided from that point onwards to research more about my roots, and within 1 year I became more and more interested in it, and I've relearned the language that I've learned to forget actually, and I recorded a whole album of Ladino traditional music. Which brings me back to the beginning, because I really think traditional music is great and it's a beautiful research. I can't stand still and not write my own songs. So I started writing my own songs in Ladino, which was difficult because I didn't know the language, and there's no grammatical structure for the language, there's no alphabet. So what do you do? How do you write texts in a language that you don't know? That took another, let's say, 1 or 2 years. Luckily, the Amsterdam Roots Festival commissioned a piece for me for the festival, which we premiered at the BIM House, that consisted entirely of new Ladino material. So we premiered in the BIM House. As I said, it was sold out, which is great. And it gave me a push, because I thought nobody would be interested, in this type of music, because it's a dead language. Nobody speaks it anymore. But because it was sold out, it gave me a sign that there is an audience for this music. So now I'm going to record and release the first all-original Ladino album in the world. It's going to be released in the spring of 2020. We're here at Czech Music Crossroads. So I was invited here to give 3 panels. The first one that I just gave was about Ladino culture, heritage, and how do we juxtapose to modern music with my project of Ladino songs, newly written Ladino songs. The second panel that I'm going to give tomorrow is together with Steve Mead, the artistic director of the Manchester Jazz Festival, and we are going to take artists by the hand with the first steps of building an international career. So I've been managing myself for about 12 years now, so I have the artist's point of view as a self-management tool. Steve will give his grain of salt of being a programmer in a festival that pioneers new talent. And then the third panel will be about booking international tours and bringing international musicians to Israel. So if people are interested in booking their own tours in Israel, so they can get a lot of tips from this panel. What can I say about self-management? It's hard, but I think it's worthwhile, because nobody will invest in your music as much as you will. And especially at the beginning, there are a lot of tools that you need to acquire, so it's kind of overwhelming, but eventually it gives you better results, because you will be able to manifest them later on into a larger scope career. Whether you give people to do it for you at the beginning of your career, you end up being dependent of these people to go on. So it's a dynamic business, right? So people come and go all the time. You will sign a contract today. Within 3 years, there will be someone else working with you, and the whole process will have to start from scratch. If you have the knowledge yourself, it doesn't matter in which point of your career you are, you could always start anew on your own, or just continue to develop your own business, because nobody is going to replace you. You are always there. I always knew that I'm going to be a musician. Like, if you ask my mom, she tells stories that I was 22 or 3 years old. I was imitating opera singers in the shower and telling her, hey, I want to be a singer. For my 4th birthday, I requested a microphone, and for my 5th birthday, I requested a piano. So, I had high demands. My family is not a musical family, not an artistic family either. Like, my parents are from the working class. So I wasn't exposed to a lot of culture at home, so I had to kind of look for it elsewhere. I was also living in a desert city in Israel, in Beersheba. It's in the south. So there wasn't a lot of culture there when I was growing up, at the end of the 80s, beginning of the 90s. So I always had to look for my goals elsewhere. I think that also helped me out a lot with building my own career, because I was already used to looking for things rather than accepting them, taking them for granted. So nothing was given me for granted. So I guess it gave me the little push that I needed to succeed.